Jobs, jobs, jobs. That is probably one of the biggest challenges that we've got on the African continent. The question is, how do we start making a dent in this challenge? South Africa, for example, a youth unemployment rate of close to 60%. It's diabolical. Now we can complain about it, or we can do something about it. And this really is what Innovate Africa is about. It's about talking to businesses who try and fix wicked problems like the unemployment rate. So today, I'm going to introduce you to Christiaan van den Berg. He is the co-founder of JobJack. Christiaan, great having you on the show. Let's hop straight into what business you actually in as JobJack.
What business JobJack is in is the business of creating hope. So we are there to really connect and build a bridge between the job seekers that are desperately looking for work and that don't have access to these opportunities. I mean, you might know yourself, average job seeker spends around 950 Rand per month looking for work, right? Which is unaffordable because they don't have a job, so they don't have money, so they can't look for jobs. And so they sit at home not looking for work and they become despondent. And companies are actually not reaching those people because only the people that can afford to get to these companies are being hired. So it's this broken system that's being fed and looped in, and hence our unemployment rate really just looping a little back, a little forth, a little back, a little forth. And so that's really where we come in, is to create that hope and connect those dots. And the how we can get into later, and I know our team is a bit more operational, so they're probably listening to this and being frustrated. No, tell them how we do it, But really we're there to create hope. We're really there to see what dent we can make in a society where unemployment is a crucial need to not just change generational wealth, but really to restore dignity.
Giving people hope is a lofty goal. I love it. But pragmatically, where do you actually start? How do you even start making a dent with a problem that wicked? And maybe what we should do is start right at the beginning. Where did it all start for you?
So JobJack really started with myself studying accounting. I found article work really easily. It's maybe because it's slave labor, but obviously because, you know, there's a massive need for it. And I was privileged enough to go study accounting. And so during my articles really stuck with me because I saw my friends that were studying something else or that weren't studying struggling to find opportunities. And so during articles, I shared this with my family. And my mother-in-law one day asked me, listen, she's arranging an event. Can I get some guys that I still know at varsity to, you know, be promoters at this event? And quickly arranged a few of them through me, and the payment came through me, and afterwards their friends and their friends' friends started asking me, do I have more of these opportunities? And it hit me, oh yeah, unless you belong to some elite WhatsApp group or Facebook group back then, you don't know of these opportunities that don't require qualification, you know, above matric. And so so I became the first iteration, the MVP, if you will, of this connecting platform, this solution to connect people that don't have a tertiary education to opportunities that are out there. And so it was more focused on gig work back then. And ultimately, I saw more and more need of this. And it really just ran through me as Christiaan using WhatsApp, right? That's really as simplistic as it was. And eventually we saw enough traction to go, you know, get your first round of fools, friends, and family. Luckily, my father's fool enough to support his son in this daring venture, but he saw some traction as well, and it really wasn't free money. It came at a price which I think all things should. And so ultimately we started moving into this season where we said, okay, well, now we need to build something that we can at least take out into the market. And we really did. And you know the saying, if you're embarrassed of your MVP, you probably released, if you're not embarrassed, you probably released too late. We were very embarrassed. And so yes, we got it out there soon enough to get that traction, to get that feedback. And ultimately that started leading us to a place where we saw so much need for more permanent opportunities. And we were super blessed enough to at one stage get a meeting with Pep, and we sold them the dream. We sat in a room with them and really just saw that their massive need was that they are really just hiring the first best CV that's on top of their pile, and then having to repeat that process over and over again, and they're probably just not hiring the right person. And they're sitting with hundreds of unfilled vacancies because it's too difficult to find the right person. And so ultimately we started pivoting our focus into saying, okay, how is it that we can create this hope of people that are inaccessibly, you know, kind of stuck in not finding opportunities? And the how and really kind of what dawned on us is, okay, the best way we can provide them hope is to provide them with opportunities. How can we provide them with opportunities? We go to the source of the opportunities. And so we really dug into, okay, what is it that these companies that have these opportunities need, and how can we make their life as easy as possible and solve for their problems, as opposed to being confronted the whole time with the needs of the people that we care for, right? These job seekers. The best way we can look after them is to go chase these employers. And so ultimately that's what we started building. So when we sat with Pep, we had this MVP. We had, it was embarrassing if you think about what we showed them this time, but no, at least we had something. I mean, it could have been just a normal website. In fact, what we took to them was we said, well, listen, we can generate profiles, by these candidates just signing up and creating profiles. Meanwhile, we had interns in the back, gathering all these questions over WhatsApp and then creating profiles on Canva. So really, it was still, a spoeg and plak, as you will, solution to getting that. But we could sell them this ideology, this dream, and could prove to them that, hey, this is where we're heading. Jump on board if you want to.
I love your phraseology, spoeg and plak. Now, if you don't speak Afrikaans, it's like using duct tape to keep things together. Your business, proverbially, right? Holding it together with duct tape so that you can show that it works, but you don't have all the fancy stuff to really bolt it all together. And there are lots of founders, Christiaan, who want things to be perfect before they start. What type of advice do you have for them?
Sure. I think, a lot of this, I learned in hindsight myself, but luckily my co-founder, Hein Bellingen, and I are probably naive and stupid enough to, as accountants, think we could build this HR tech platform. But I think what made us stupid and naive enough is we just took the next step, right? So whether that was building some, framework on Figma and showing that to people, whether it be just running it through WhatsApp, or even Facebook was the next step, a nice Facebook group. I mean, ultimately, when we spoke to Pep, right, we had, I think, 4,000 or 5,000 registered job seekers. I mean, that's more than what they employ almost in a year, right? So, I mean, it was crazy to think that we would solve this for them. And I mean, now we're sitting at just over 3 million registered job seekers, and I think 5,000 or 7,000 sign up every day. And so I think what I've learned, speaking with other founders, especially in the tech spaces, people wait for them to have this perfect platform, or not even perfect sometimes, just they wait for them to have a platform before they pick up the phone and phone the first, prospective client or prospective customer. But those are the people that you should be speaking before you start building, because those are the people that you're going to learn from the most, because you're solving for their problem, not your own. So I think biggest advice that I've seen and that I've learned is pick up the phone and call, have conversations like these, email the crap out of people. It's really easy to guess someone's email or to connect with them over LinkedIn, and people are so open to giving you some advice. And go receive that advice, not just with an agenda. Really go receive that advice, because I think that's ultimately and so many times more valuable than any amount of capital that you can get to go build this cool MVP that you take out into the market and no one wants it.
That number from 5,000 to 3 million seems like one massive leap, and some people might ask, what's the magic behind it? I'm sure there's no magic. It's just chipping away until things finally work. But what do you think actually made it work for you, for JobJack?
Oh, unfortunately, there's no silver bullet to kind of, reflecting back on how do we get from 5,000 to 3 million, 5,000 signing up a day. And I mean, this really only took off after COVID, right? I mean, we started in 2018 sometime. And just when we thought we had some great traction, COVID hit. And for 9-10 months of that year, we were absolutely dead in the water, right? We had amazing investors that could back us from there. And I think what really pulled us through and what got us to this, if you want to call it, kind of a snowball or flywheel effect, that don't want to claim that we have it at all. In fact, us and our team have really kind of come to the conclusion that we haven't even started reaching it. But nonetheless, I think what we did well, and what I think stuck with our convictions, was to really focus on this entry-level space. So we were drawn a lot, even in COVID, even post-COVID, to go to a more lucrative space, right? Like more professional hiring. There's much more quicker money in that as well. But our conviction was we're doing this in a gap that's so prevalent and so needed, not just in South Africa, but across the world. And I think what we did well was we relentlessly pursued this cause. And I think with every job that we got from every company, we added a bit more authenticity and mission-driven direction to our followers. And I think that really created this trust in the market out there, especially from a job seeker's perspective, to showcase that we're not just here to make money or for a quick fix. We're here to solve problems, right? And so I think that's really fed into our snowball, our focus, our traction. That's really, shown to drive us into the direction that we need to go.
I must tell you, I smiled when I heard about the Next 176, which, by the way, is Old Mutual's venture arm, their investment arm, looking at impacting lives on the African continent. As a matter of fact, they're looking to, as you know, impact 1 billion lives through working with businesses like yours. Put a big smile on my face. But how long did that journey actually take with them? Because you get these things tend to take forever, and then especially the due diligence takes a long time. Give us an insight into that journey.
Great question. So yeah, it's been a massive privilege having Next 176 invest in us, and this is not a Next 176 ad. Yeah. This is really a testament just of their founder-focused approach. So we had a conversation with them sometime in 2022, end of 2022, but really just as a, hey, you guys are new in the space, it'll be really nice to just have a conversation. We weren't even raising back then. And about 4 months thereafter, we decided, okay, we're going to start raising. And in all honesty, and this might sound a little self-conceited, but within 2 or 3 weeks, we were done with our meetings. And I think because we were really purposeful in going to find value-aligned investors from an impact perspective, but also just in the way that we run our company perspective. And I think that's something that just helped that process is us having these conversations before we needed the money. I think that's really key in not scrambling, and that usually kind of puts you on the back foot and them on the front foot. Not that that's a us-them scenario, but I think it's how can we set these conversations up so that everyone wins, right? Everyone's coming in at an equal setting. And so I think within 2 or 3 weeks, and then, getting to term sheets took about a month or so, but we were aligned again. We were aligned, and we had, co-investors from their side, Michael and Susan Dell Foundation, which really were super supportive in that as well. The DDs took a while, right? Let's be honest with each other. I think put out 9 months of your runway at least. For that, we luckily have a kick-ass CFO that really took over that process. And I think we and Next 176 learned in that process as well, from a legal perspective, from a tech perspective, how to more efficiently run some of these DDs. But it really was such a beneficial process for us. We learned a lot as well, from a running business perspective, from a documentation perspective. And luckily, we had quite a few of our things ready. We are luckily both CAs, my co-founder and I. So nothing was hidden in the dark anyway. And so that helped a lot. But ultimately, it took about 9 months. Luckily, only, let's call it 3 or 4 weeks of my and my co-founder's time.
So, Christiaan, the good old matric. It's the final high school year. It's the high school graduation year in South Africa, right? I've got a controversial view about it. I don't think everybody necessarily needs matric. I don't think businesses should all be asking for matric. I think there are other things that could potentially show aptitude and attitude. Maybe someone dropped out of grade 11 and taught him or herself how to code, and they built their own products. That's the type of person I wouldn't mind hiring. So what is your take on matric, the prerequisite from many people really, that a matric needs to be in that CV before we can actually talk to you?
Oh, matric. Great point of discussion, and I think, as you mentioned, right, matric has its place. It is important, it's amazing, but it's not the be all and the end all, especially in the space that we operate in, right? So we operate in the entry level space, meaning opportunities that don't require qualifications above matric can require matric, because unfortunately that's what most companies mandate at this point, right? Whether it be from a BBBEE perspective or so forth. But what we've done from our side is these employers think that a person needs to live within 5 kilometer radius. They need to maybe be able to speak some English, and they need matric because then they're going to be a good entry level employee. BS. right? We've really found that not to be true. And so what we dove into is what is going to be a more relevant indicator that someone's going to thrive in this, right? Not just a duct tape solution. And so we saw, okay, well, psychometrics is a much better indicator, but all the psychometrics that are out there are either Americanized or Europeanized, and they cost a ton of money to do. So it's not feasible, and it's irrelevant for the market that we're servicing, right? And so, naive and dumb enough as we are, we started our own psychometric team. We hired some brilliant people, and we now have a fully functioning psychometric team that's built incredible psychometric assessments, batteries of assessments that start indicating much more relevantly who's going to be a better fit for entry-level opportunity, right? From looking at conscientiousness, problem solving, just potential work performance that indicates if someone's not just going to be there for 3 or 6 months, but someone that's actually going to start thriving in the role that they're going into, whether it be for a cashier or a shelf packer or a salesperson, and ultimately so that they can grow in their role and start a career and thus actually start changing generational poverty. But hey, it's not just beneficial for them, it's actually going to be beneficial for the employers as well, because they're getting people that are actually going to build their company. There's this saying that we push so hard for our clients, but also internally by Zig Ziglar, which says you don't build the business, you build the people, and the people build the business, right? How much more important at a grassroots level, at a customer facing level. And so that's really what we've zoned into. We're probably not in a space where we can mandate assessments above matric just yet, but that's really where we're wanting to move towards. And that's what we're starting to showcase with our case studies of how these candidates are performing. 100%. So I think work experience or inclination proof certification is the next matric, if you will, right? It is the next proof of suitability for a specific skill. So yes, you have the assessments that showcase potential work performance, right? Almost sometimes regardless of what exact skills, the skills will come, right? The skills will come with training thereafter because this person is maybe more trainable for this certain type of role. But ultimately, yes, that's also where we want to go, right? Whether it be from a technological perspective, right? From AI to data to even artisan, right? Is this someone that can actually build, do electrical work, someone that can make coffee, someone that can really kind of just come in with a certain skill. They don't have matric, they maybe don't even have grade 10 or 11, they've got a grade 9, right? Because their circumstances just didn't allow them to complete further. But hey, this person has incredible potential, and this is what they can do, and they can add immense value because this is what they do well. And so let's stop trying, give a blanket cover and really start showcasing people for their individual potential.
Just getting back to the next 176 investment. All these investments are really about driving growth, achieving the goals as we mentioned before. And there's no better way of demonstrating what you want to achieve through story. So what is the story that JobJack would like to tell at the end of all of this? Because it's always important to start with the end and reverse engineer your way back. What's your take on that?
Great question. So the investment from Next 176 really has put us in a place where we can not just zoom forward with growth, but we can build sustainable foundations to grow off of. And that was really part of the conversation from the get-go, right? It's not, okay, guys, we're investing, so within 12 months, you need to be out in 3 different African countries, or the likes thereof. It really was, okay, what do we need to set ourselves up, not just to grow continuously in South Africa, whether it be in industry expansion or, product expansion, but also geographic expansion. So that's really part of the long game or medium game. Let's call it, whether it be 12 months, whether it be 18 months, or whether it be 36 months. But that really has put us in a place where we don't have to go, for lack of a better term, prostitute our platform in just making a quick buck here or there. Because let's be honest with each other, we're sitting with a large amount of data, right, which can be monetized, in which way we can, get a quicker buck to keep us going. But this really enables us to zone in on a sustainable growth path, to not just expand further in South Africa. 3 million is only the starting point, right? But then on the back of our existing clients, move up into not just Africa, but Southeast Asia, Australasia, South America. Most of our clients are begging us to move up there, but we know we need to go, in a sustainable way. You see too many of these amazingly ambitious startups that raise and quickly expand into Africa, and then only for within 6 months to retreat again. That's not where we want to be in. And we were pretty clear on this growth path, but let's do it sustainably. Let's do it so that we don't have to claw back. Let's do it so that it accumulates with every country that we move into. So that's really what this did, and it's been amazing with Next because they've got this amazing founder-focused approach. Yes, pushing us for growth, but also sometimes almost putting us back, right? To say, okay, guys, but let's think about this. If this is the ultimate goal, right? In their case, changing 1 billion lives. How do we change 1 billion lives? How do we not just run and then only get to 100 million? No, we want to get to 1 billion, and we super for that as well. So that's really what's made this partnership so amazing.
Christiaan, things aren't always easy. People look at investments, they say, oh, what a great success, but they don't realize how long it took. So what are your bits of advice, sage advice for founders who are still chipping at the bit, maybe wanting to give up? What should they do? And how do you keep giving your all to your business?
In my short run, and this is really me acknowledging that I've had a short run, I'm only 30. Yes, I've got a head that proves otherwise. But I think like what it really comes down to is just have fun, man. Like I think, that we sit with so much ambition, and sometimes it creates a lot of discontent. You see my cap, it's Kenya. It's our ambition. But hey, I bought this last year in Kenya when me and my co-founder hiked Kilimanjaro, because you need to have some time to have some fun. And so I think part of that, and it's difficult, it's not always easy, right? We're sitting with a bigger team now. There's a lot of amazing ideas and a lot of passion that comes with that. And so managing the why, the how, the passion comes with some frustration, with some growth pains. And I think there's, especially in African space where things can be quick, but things can also be a little slower, right? People can be a little closed-minded, especially if you're in a B2B space. But I think what it really comes down to is just simplify and have fun. Like, I think people overcomplicate things so often, and I think that's such a key, is just to see what is the next step. And while you're taking the next step, get some lacquer people to do it with you. I'm super blessed to have an amazing co-founder that not only shares my own the same worldview that I do, but really shares the same simplistic mindset. And he's probably going to feel I'm tuning him to call him a simpleton. But hey, if that's what it takes to start a company, then let's rather be young and naive and maybe a little dumb and think we can actually do it, because ultimately, that's probably what it's going to take. So I think, what it's really come down to me in a nutshell is to, one, don't be afraid to ask for advice and surround yourself with people that are going to have fun with you, and don't overthink it. Just enjoy it.
Christiaan, thank you very much for your time. Always phenomenal chatting. I'm really looking forward to following up on this JobJack story, and that, once again, a great example of a company that impacts lives on the African continent. I'm Kieno Kammies, and you are listening to Innovate Africa.